Okay, so in this case, we're looking at making an icon. Now, I didn't understand this part of their grid down here. Use an 8 pixel by 8 pixel grid. A grid keeps lines sharp and ensures that content is crisp as possible on all sides, requiring less retouching and sharpening. Snapping the image boundary to the grid to minimize half pixel and blurry details that can occur when scaling down. So, I didn't, of course, I did a 100 by 100 pixel artboard, right? But of course, 8 doesn't go into 100, does it? So, it's hard for me to try and wrap this around my brain here. So, I just made a grid at we could do 5 pixel by 5 pixel or something like that. To alter and make a grid in Photoshop is quite easy. It's located underneath the preference option here, and you'll notice there's one that says guides and grids down there. You'll see it right there. And once you choose guides and grids right there, you'll notice at the very bottom down here is where you'll have guidelines, grid lines here. What kind of grid do you want? So I'm going to go with pixels because I'm making pixels, right? And maybe since I'm using 100, I put 10 a grid line, so that then we would have 10 kind of split up into 10 by 10. Basically, you would have 10 across, 10 down. In subdivision, you can either leave 1. That will then be 1. You could subdivide the grid itself, or you could just leave it like that. So it's basically going to snap to 10, 10. It might be better to subdivide by 2 in case you want your. So think about it right now for a moment. If you put a grid on there. That's 10 or whatever, I'm not going to put 10 across, but you get the idea here. It's going to try and snap the art to the edge of this, or to the edge of that, or snap it to the edge of the artboard. Or if I cut it in half here with a subdivide, then it'll be 5 pixels away, 5 pixels away, and so on. So the grid the subdivision will help you snap it as well, because it'll snap to the sub as well as the grid. And so you can change the grid color if you want. Right here is gray. If you want it to really stand out, you can put it a bright color if you want. I'm going to make it bright red so we can see it. And then if I hit OK here. Uh-oh. Why am I? Uh-oh. Did I freeze? It froze. There we go. Come on. There we go. Now I don't see a grid. You're like, where's the grid? Well, the grid needs to be shown under View, Show, Grid. View, show, grid, and then you'll get your grid lines up there. I can zoom in. Now I exaggerate a little bit with red. It looks kind of crazy, but whatever. You get the idea. So if I'm going to make an icon to fit into this 100 square pixel, or 100 by 100 square pixel, let me just make something real quick. How about if I'm going to do a vector artwork. I like to do vector artwork. Oh, I did subdivide by what, 2? 4 maybe? Or yeah, I have no idea what I did there.
I know it reset it back before for some reason.
It did? Okay. It's okay. Again, I like to use vector art because, of course, it's going to be much more precise. And so I'm going to make kind of the Android kind of thing. Somebody was writing about the Android play icon. So I'm going to go with a polygon. So down here, the vector tools right here, down here. And if I click on the screen without dragging, it'll ask me to make something. And I'm going to create a polygon. It only has 3 sides. And we'll make it, of course, no, not a star, 3-sided star. Can we make a 3-sided star? I don't know. Let's make a 3-sided star. There we go. And I'm going to move it. And it's kind of it makes it 100 pixels by 100 pixels because of that, but that's a little big. I might scale it down. Notice when I'm scaling, it can snap to the art or to the grid itself. And then to make it a little bit more interesting than a plain triangle or whatever hell shape you call that, I'm going to duplicate that shape. Oops, if I can, where's my duplicate? Yes, apply. I'm going to duplicate this shape, and then let me flip it around. I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees, make it a little bit more interesting. Oh, not both of them. Just the one layer. Come on. Layer. Is there a rotate layer? Boy. Image rotate. How about if I just rotate it by hand? There we go. There we go. And then let me snap that. Let me change that color. If you use vector-based artwork like I just did inside of Photoshop, you can change the color by double-clicking over here on the artwork itself, or go to the properties window. Oh, hid the properties window. No, I swear I was double-clicking on it. Oh, you gotta apply that. You gotta apply it. Apply it. Now double-click, and let's change the color. And then to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm going to add a blending mode. There we go. Okay, so I have a crazy kind of icon. It's been snapped to the grid, so you can see it snapped perfectly to the grid. So applying a grid will help you align things nicely. It's just some plain artwork I made using a vector tool. I just rotated it 180 degrees and kind of gave it a blending mode here so that where they both intersect, it gives you a different color. And I thought that was kind of a cool shape. I know you're doing food. You can do your banana. You can also steal from, of course, what? The Noun project, right? Yeah, so any way to get your artwork in here. If I was going to steal from the Noun project, can I make it into a vector inside of Photoshop without even using Illustrator? Can I make a vector using the Noun project in Photoshop without using Illustrator? Remember that last week I demonstrated download the Noun project, brought it into Illustrator, converted it to a vector using image trace, and then we brought it into Sketch. Do you remember that? We can do it in Photoshop. Okay? Who says we can do it in Photoshop? Okay, so let's steal from the Noun project, and I'll show you how to make a vector shape. Like this is a vector shape. Remember I use these? You can make these vector shapes inside of Photoshop from a bitmap image. Okay, so let's try it. We can do it. The day I learned how to do that, it was probably 15 years ago, and I was just like, whoa, whoa. It was like a miraculous thing to me here. So let me make another one. I'll do one more icon. We'll learn how to steal and make a vector. Okay, so here we go. So we got our grid. Let me go steal from the Noun project. Boy, they probably were going to sue me, the Noun project, won't they? The Noun. Okay, so we're doing what? Burgers? Burgers? There we go. What burger do we want? How about this one? There we go. How about this one? To steal it, of course, we're going to use what? Command-Shift-4. And we draw a box around it. Takes your picture. I'm going to open that in Photoshop. Don't even have to use Illustrator. I'm using Photoshop for everything. I'm going to open this in Photoshop. Let me turn the grid off. I don't need it right this moment. Okay, so now this sees this as a bitmap, but I want it to be a vector. Okay, why? Well, because I can scale it better and do things. So to make a bitmap object into a vector inside of Photoshop, you need to select what you want to be a vector. So, of course, there's all kinds of selection tools. Probably the easiest one for this is I would use the magic wand and select the black part. So again, I would use the magic wand. I'm going to go over here to the magic wand, wherever that's at. There it is. Magic wand is down here. The magic wand is used by selecting, it selects a color, right? So we're trying to select something. I'm going to select the black part. And if it didn't select, of course, the little cheese or whatever this is in this burger here, I can actually hold down the shift key and click on that as well. And once I have marching ants, of course, these are what they would call, and if you've ever read a Photoshop tutorial book, they call them marching ants. Once you have a selection, you can then convert it into a vector. To convert it into a vector, you use the path pop-up window. It's called the path pop-up window. So it's a pop-up window under window paths with an S, P-A-T-H-S, and then in there, where's paths? Paths? Where is it? It's way down below underneath everything, wouldn't it be? There it is, way down here. Okay. So in the paths window, you'll see there is this thing right here is a vector shaping tool right here. It's this one. It'll convert it into a vector, and then I can fill it in with a color just like you saw me doing with the vector shape that I made before. So it's this one right here, and if I click on that, it'll make a vector. You can see you even got points. And if it's not beautiful, because it doesn't do as good a job as Illustrator does, nowhere near, you'll notice if I zoom in, you'll see that they're all kind of, it's not quite as smooth. It does work though. And if you wanted it to make it into a color, you know, to fill it in with a color, this paths right there, there is a way to fill it with color. There's like a little, see this, like there's like a little solid thing right here. I don't know what you would call it. It looks like a bullet, I guess. You could fill that in with a color. It fills it in whatever the solid color is there. And then, you know, it's a vector. You can do whatever you want with it. To move it and shape it and do it, they do have vector tools down here. Under here, you got your direct, you got your path selection tool, you got your direct selection tool. These are the same sort of tools you would have inside of Illustrator. And so again, in the paths window, I clicked on here to make it into a vector. I colored it with this option right here. And then I can copy and paste it into my 100 by 100 square pixel thing, right? I can use Command C to copy it. I can go over to my 100 by 100 area, and I can paste it in there. Uh-oh, it's pretty big, and it doesn't have color, but we can add color again. Oh, why is it too? It's pretty big. Let me scale that down. Where's my scale feature? Let me scale this down. No. Okay, that didn't work. That definitely didn't work the way I wanted it to work. Okay, let me try again. Where was I? No, I lost it. Damn. Not good. Not good. Oh, here it is. Let me see if I can scale it down before I even copy and paste it. No, it's scaling down that. Okay, that's not working the way I want. Where's my paths window? I need paths. Damn it. Paths. There we go. Here it is. Can I just drag it into this one? There it is. It's there. My 100 pixel by 100 pixel. Can't scale it. I can move it. I think I gotta convert it into a shape layer. Hold on. It needs to be a smart object, I think. Convert to smart object. Let me go back to the original one. Okay, this is defeating my purpose of my discussion today. Okay, let's not worry about that right now. Don't do that. I'll figure out how to scale it. I think I need to make it into a smart object. That's what I need to do. Let's continue with this though. See, I made this nice logo. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I want to save it out of Photoshop for my three different sizes, right? Here's how you do it. You go inside. First, let's save it because it uses the name that you saved it. Right now, it's called Untitled. You don't want your icons to be untitled, do you? No, we're gonna call this the star. Oops. Oops. I'm gonna call it the star. Okay, now I'm gonna export it out. To export it out into three different sizes, you go under File, Export, Export As. File, Export, Export As. And then in this window, it's gonna ask you how you want to save it. Over here, you'll notice it automatically says 1x right there. Do you see it? I can then add a new one right here. And I'm going to make this one 2x. And notice it adds the extension right there. This needs the extension at 1x. There we go. So change the extension of that. And then one more. And we're going to do 3x. Right there. So again, it was under... Where did I go? File, export as. Then over here, file format. Apple's suggestion, if you are not using transparencies, is to make it 8-bit. So if you go back to the Apple, where do we go? Here we go. So in Apple's suggestion here, use the 8-bit color palette for PNG's graphics that don't require full 24-bit. An 8-bit color palette reduces file size without reducing quality. This palette is not appropriate for photos, of course. But again, we're not making a photo, we're making a graphic. So again, see right over here, it says smaller file 8-bit PNG. You have all three different sizes right there. I use the X to hit, or plus right there to hit it. And then it also suggests you use the sRGB color space right here. See where it says convert to sRGB color space? Apple recommends using sRGB wherever. Well, let me see. Where is it? Somewhere I read that. Somewhere I read that. I think it's in the icon here. This one. Hold on. Here it is. sRGB or P3. I don't know what P3 is. sRGB is kind of default. So again, PNG format, sRGB, flattened with no transparency. Okay, do you see those settings right there? They're right there. I made all three of them, and I hit export all. It asks me where to save it. I'm going to slap it on the desktop, and it does it automatically. If you go to your desktop and look at them, you'll see you have your 2x, your 3x, and your 1x. Now, we should change the name of the artboard, because look, it used the name of the artboard. Did you see that? It used the name of the artboard. But then once you have all three of these, you would then go and import all three into Xcode. Xcode, you bring in a group, and then you don't have to do anything more. Once you're in Xcode, you don't even have to think about it. You can use the 1x one and put that on your screen and do your layout the way you want, and whenever it makes the decision on which one to serve up. So once you do this and you put it into the program, you don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, thanks for on these computers.
Yeah, they're on there. If you want me to show you what it does? Yeah, here. Okay, I'll quickly show you what it does if I can find it. Oh, it's down here, I think. Should be on here somewhere. Here it is. It's at the very last one in the list. So I'm going to make a new project right here. See where it says new project in Xcode right here? And then it comes up what kind of project you're going to make. We tend to make a single view application is what I tend to do. The other one that I've used before is, of course, the tabbed application. The tabbed application is kind of like the messages, right? Where you have a menu at the bottom and then the stuff at the top. and the menu at the bottom stays there pretty much the whole time, that's when you use this. If you want that tab at the bottom the entire time that people are interacting with your app, you use this one. Page-based is kind of like the single view. It's the same kind of thing. Now, when it says single view here, basically what it's doing is it's basically has like one window, and then you keep replacing it with graphics. That's why it's called single view. It's just like a website, right? You have one view, and then you make different web pages, and they get replaced there. It's the same concept. You go from screen to screen. So I hit next, and then you give it a name, test, and I hit next. And then it says where do I want to save it. I'm going to put it on the desktop for right now. Next. And then we mostly use the main storyboard. And so when we're using the storyboard in Xcode here, oh, I got to zoom out here. You see it looks like a phone basically. You got your view controller, and then you just start putting pieces on there like you would anything. You start dragging, put text on here, all these things, you just drag them in there. But to put the graphics in, there is a tab over here, right here in this area, right here. And in this area right here, if I right click under view controller, let me think, I need to think about, no, assets, I'm sorry. If I click assets right here, you'll notice there's an app icon right there. There's one already, it's waiting for you to put your icon in there. There's already a spot for it right there. And then, but if I right click on it, inside there you say new image set. An image set is what we just made where you have the 3 icons. So if I say image set right here, and notice you have 1, 2, and 3 right there. And so then you put them in by importing them. In fact, you can import them all as a group in there. And it'll actually put them in there for you. You select all of them and it puts them in there because it recognizes that. I have to think about how to do that right now, but let's not go there right now. But that you can see where you would put the 3 different ones right there inside there. Do you want me to show you anything in Sketch, or you think you just do it in Photoshop? But do you know how to export out 3 in Photoshop? Did you see it? Okay, let's get back to reading about the icons, and then you can see those, and so you know what size to make, and then you can go and tell me your idea, and that's it. So just practice this. I want you to know that you should do this, and make sure you name it properly, right? This is the most important thing, is that you got the @2x, @3x, and @1x. You saw it in Xcode.
Xcode, you got to name them yourself, right? And you just put it at the end of the name of whatever it is, whatever.
No, it'll keep that name. What do you mean you have to know?
So if you're in Xcode, like in Photoshop, we were able to just export them all in one thing, and it did everything in terms of naming and everything. Xcode, do we have to name them ourselves, or will it do the same?
No, you'll give whatever icon one name, and then it'll just replace it according to the device you're on. You can preview in all the devices. There's a preview option, so it just like you can test, right? You test your website inside a browser, right? Well, in Xcode, it has the iOS interface. In fact, in Xcode, it looks just like your phone, and it's a total working phone. You can go to the simulator inside of the app, inside of Xcode, and you can actually go to the store and you can actually buy apps and interact with them on your computer. Yeah, so it's a full working phone on your computer. So you'll see the phone.
Is it just for testing, or can you actually do
No, that's what I'm saying. It works just like the phone in your hands.
You pay for it?
No.
No.
That's a full working one in Xcode. So you can have a full working phone on your computer if you just download Xcode.
Okay.
And it works just like your phone. I don't know if you can call, but maybe you could. I don't know. I never tried that. Okay, let's finish reading. Okay, so inside here you also have the app icon. They give you some suggestions of how to make your icons. Embrace simplicity. Provide a single focus point. Design a recognizable icon. Something that people understand, universal people would understand. Keep the background simple and avoid transparencies. They're trying to get you away from the transparency. Plain white. I think they can make it I'd have to test that.
Why did they really want to get away from transparency? Since it's just
I think file size,
Yeah.
and I think it tends to make the icon blurry, right? Just like when you have a soft edge to something, it makes things kind of blurry, I think. Use words only when they're essential or part of a logo. And many of you talked I was reading some of your comments about the icons that we reading video thing you were supposed to watch. Don't place your app icon throughout the interface. Test your icon against different wallpapers. Keep icon corner square. The system applies a mask that rounds the corner. So again, you save as square, and I know it looks like rounded corners on your phone, but it does that. The operating system makes the rounded corners. So you give them a square one, and it makes the rounded corners. And then here they got format PNG, sRGB color space, no transparency. And then they have different size with different resolutions right here. And we just talked about that earlier. Square with no rounded corners. We just talked about that. And then they give you an idea of all the different sizes right here. Now, one of the things to keep in mind, inside of Photoshop, I did not see the grid. I'm sure there's one there. I did not find it. But in Sketch, they actually have guidelines that show you where kind of the edge is here. So you'll notice how there's a gap between where the blue is and the edge of the thing. Inside of Xcode, they actually have guidelines that show you where, we'll call this, what am I trying to say, viewable area. In video, we have the same thing. We call it title safe area, so that your titles don't go all the way to the edge of your video. This is kind of like that, where they're giving you a guide that says, oh, this should be the bottom. Even though the image is bigger, that's the bottom. So here's the different sizes that they recommend you make for all the different devices. And then they have different sizes over here. Again, you got mail, you have, or, just different places where it is. And you'll see there's a whole bunch of different sizes of icons. And that's just for, this is just for the phone part. And then you got custom icons. I think we looked at this the other day. They have a whole bunch of different sizes there. Look at all the different sizes there. And you can see the guidelines right here. See the edge? And then launch screen icon. How big is that? How big is your screen for your opening screen, right? And then system icons. If you were going to make a system, oh, these are pre-made ones. So, and then of course these are easily called up directly in Xcode or wherever you're using. These are very easily. And so, just read that and think about it. Let me quickly show you in Sketch real quick. I'm not going to make one. I'm just going to show you in Sketch. Oh, new from template. They do have the icon, the iOS app icon. And then you'll notice, you'll see if I click on there, oh, it's not showing me. Oh, in my version, I have the newer version. If you click on here, you'll see it makes a guideline here, but you can see the guideline right there. See it right there? So that's why they have the round part. See the round part there? So this is kind of saying you keep your artwork inside there. Okay, I haven't found that. I'm sure it's there for Photoshop. I just haven't found it. And then, of course, they have all the different sizes here as well, and so on. So in Sketch, they actually have that. And they have all the sizes here for you. And so you might want to consider using Sketch as well, either one. But just practice that over the weekend. That's your, and of course you want to be creative and make yourself a nice, Does anybody want to use the computer for telling me what they're going to do, or you guys are just going to talk?